Yo, what's up, people? How's it going? Hope all is good. I had to adjust myself a little bit. That was a little bit hazy, like a daisy. But hey, like a daisyac, like a maniac, we're back. We are gonna have cool time over here. Hopefully, it's gonna be fun. That's really the goal. So, we'll be looking for some fun action and hopefully to our old satisfaction. And let people know we exist. See? Right? Cool. Hey, what's up, Miles of Danger? Yeah, this will be a solid little hourly stream. Might not last forever, but fun. So, I will want to show you this game, which I felt was very interesting. Like a lot of times, you find yourself in new and novel situations, and you have to figure your way out of trouble and out of dodge. So, really, I want to look at this for a little bit, and then we go on and play some chess. And I'm, of course, very much open to people, playing people. So, completely the plan. That's this stream, and that's planned for this stream. Okay. So when you look at this position, you notice that black has plenty of pawn islands. Those pawns are actually good, but these are pawn islands that are not that great. So once you get a position like this, you ought to be kind of wondering, okay, so there's those double pawns out there, but how can I kind of reach them, or how can I actually cause some damage? And of course, then you take your second steps, but you gotta start off first with deciding how you can take advantage of it. So that's the first thing we gotta think about. Now, that's the strategic element of it all. But the other part of this position is the dynamics. So it's not enough just to see that yes, those pawns are weak. There is a dynamic effect going on. My opponent is already pawn clouding that king into the center. So that's already sort of a dynamic difference. Not only these pawns are weak, but the king is up there instead of, let's say, castle short or castle long. So that's actually a moment where you have to kind of ponder and wonder what can be done here to take advantage of the situation. Like, that is, of course, a crucial part of this game. It's, of course, very important. So how could we try and take advantage of the fact that black has a king somewhat inconvenienced in the middle of the center? Yeah, bishop g5 is an idea for sure, but if you go bishop g5, you are still kind of neglecting your opponent's threats of going to pawn to d4. So your idea is not wrong, but you're sort of neglecting the fact that my opponent has threats of his own. So it's not just I can do whatever I want. If that would be the case, life would be beautiful, but life isn't beautiful, right? So therefore, I did kind of what you did. You sort of thought of e takes d5, and you would have been right. You wanted to actually strengthen that idea, which bishop g5 is. The bishop g5 would be much, much better because you're pinning it, and e5 is a threat. But because of the dynamic nature, so this bishop on b7, they're pressing on that e pawn. And not just that, there is potential targets on that king on e1. So here, really what you ought to do is keeping in mind of your opponent's ideas. So I took, for that reason, took here, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, castles. So I wanted to make a difference, and a lot of times in chess, a difference is what it takes, literally, to get a great position. The difference here is that I managed to put a king from e1 to c1, while this king is still on e7, and the pawns on c7, c5, a7, they're still very weak. They're all still in trouble. Bishop e6. Okay, so first up, done well. What can we do now? And by the way, there are of course not only one solutions in chess, but you always want to see if there are ways of improving. So actually what Miles of Danger said was correct. You do want to find a good move and make a better one. But of course, that actually has like a hidden danger in there, because a lot of times you may even make a worse move than before. Alright, so one of the important things in chess is still to look for the basic principles. Not everything is all about winning at the easiest and the most convenient moment. It's possible, but it does not necessarily need to be that. It could be something else. So rook e1, and that's why I'm saying Miles of Danger. Rook e1 is not a bad move, but I feel that you are trying to win the position while you don't have the means to do it. Okay, so you're in the mood of listing moves. Good, good. Bring me more, bring me more. So far what Miles of Danger said is rook e1, bishop b5. Here, bishop b5. Okay. So it always makes sense to sort of diversify the ideas you have of a position and not just presume that, hey, this is good. No, that's good. You will have to make a decision why one is better than the other. So Miles of Danger is kind of hoping that I'll be saying, oh, that's great. Or I'll say, oh, that's not great, but the other one is. No, I'm not going to go that far. I'm actually going to give you the chance of sort of comparing your own ideas, because whenever you're playing chess, that's what you really do. You compare ideas of your own. You can't really say, hey, this is winning, that's winning, because you have to be the one making the decision. Also, the king probably isn't going here, but is going to f8. If you go bishop b5, that square, even though guarded, does not necessarily mean I can't run that way. That doesn't mean bishop b5 is bad, it just doesn't do what you're saying it does. Rook e1 first to pin the bishop, then bishop b5. What does bishop b5 really do to black's position? That confuses me a little bit. And I don't know why. I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I'm curious. I am very much curious. So rook e1, bishop b5. Now, I will give you another option. What about a3? What about a3? Would a3 make sense? So far, I would claim that white is better, because the king on e7 is awkward. But it does not necessarily mean we're winning. I would think if your king was closer to it. Does not make any sense to me, but okay. So, any case, both of these moves are fine. You could go here, but there is like a marked difference between this one and this one. You could go here, but you're wasting time. And even if you go here, that's not such a huge accomplishment. Bishop b5, I like it better because it involves your rook. So best of is to have moves where you actually develop your pieces and then see what happens. If you make that move of rook e1, you're sort of putting all of your eggs in one basket, saying, hey man, I just want to go here, and if it wins, wins. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So for that very respect, bishop b5 is better. Now I played bishop f4. I attacked that pawn, also kind of leaving this bishop at hey. Bishop a5, and now I played your move, Miles. Bishop b5. b5, rook d8, bishop e3, attacking the c pawn. Bishop b6. You'll never ever guess the move I played. Ever. Like literally ever. Never you gonna guess it. Never ever. Never ever ever shall you remember nor remember what I played here. Shocking. It's absolutely mildly shocking what happens here. Right back. So, more pieces to trade? No. Chess, everyone has even pieces. Whoever trades, trades, but doesn't make the situation any better. So, I don't think you would want to do that. Like, trading is fine, but trading is also a crime. And, you know, you don't want to be criminal like that. I don't think. Like, you want to live a life where criminal activities are smaller than thou. Kinda. Rook e1. Very good. Rook e1, you want to involve your rook in the game. So, compared to the move suggested, like bishop g5 check, you are probing. But again, as I say, chess isn't always about, hey, they miss this check and they lose. It's more about building the advantage. So rook e1 is a builder move. Bob, the builder move. Let's say if black doesn't pay attention, plays pawn to a6, now this is actually powerful because I already have the rook involved in the attack. So there are these little tweaking details that really make or break our chess. Like, yes, you do want to win Puzzle Rush style and go for the win that way, but in reality, you really got to bring in your pieces first. King takes d1. I kind of like my rook eyeing the king. King c1, king f6. And even though the king moved away from this kind of danger, that king on f6 do feel like a bit of a stranger. Hey, Joe Smack. So, how can we bother His Majesty on f6? Because it didn't end. Like, we did bring our pieces in. We should be a little better because of the structure weaknesses, but you ought to look for more. Unavoidable. Thank you for the follow. You're genuinely bad at chess. I'm shutting up and listening. So don't do that unavoidable chin move. The best thing you can do is give your suggestions because you may surprise yourself. You may be thinking, hey man, I'm not that great. But what if you are? What if you are actually good at this game? So no, don't actually push yourself in the background. Whenever I'm showing a game and I'm giving the floor for the viewers, I'm literally waiting for you to show what you would play here. And of course, it could be a bad move, but that's how we all start out. Just start playing chess again. Race Max, nice. I mean, look at here, Miles of Danger, listing all of the moves possible and just waiting like Bobby Fischer for Michal Tal. Like, this one, no, this one. Scrubbing and scrubbing, scrub, scrub, scrub. This one, no, scrub, scrub, scrub. This one. Yeah, I missed a lot, man. It's so much fun. I know it is. So I think it's well worth uh showing me what you think. I'm back again. Something I forgot. Listing all the candidates' moves. That is correct. You got Fisher the other day. All right, so a lot of non-talking by you guys. I want to hear ya, Unavoidable, Chin, and Joyce Max. Stop talking about computers, please, and give me an idea of what you'd play here. While I take a magical sip of water. Now, of course, no pressure. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. But just know that the option is right there, especially when analyzing. So yeah, both G4, H4, they're great moves. You want to gain little space here. I don't play G4, but I do think it's fine. And you are threatening to come closer to the king. It's great. If you said H4, you are a genius. If you said like 50 other moves and H4, you're a quarter of a genius because you probably listed like 4 moves. So H4 is the one I chose because that has this immediate threat of bishop G5 and also gaining some space. Now, what we don't usually talk about in chess, apart from the middle, is side space. This idea is to gain a little bit of a momentum here and go in that direction. Adriana, thank you so much for the raid. The 38 people. Hope you had a wonderful stream. We're just looking at this little game over here that I played. Sort of welcoming anyone. So, anyone, you raiders as well. What would you like? Thank you. Hope you had a happy one as well, Adriana. So, what's cooking? We are cooking some nice little endgame up. And then I will be playing some people. Like, I'll be playing people. So, if you wish to play me, this will be kind of the right moment. And of course, after we're done with this lecture. So Jingles, yo, thank you for subscribing tier 1 for 5 months. Simon Lee, thank you for the follow. So bishop g5, I was in this talk about there is the space and there is side space that you're trying to get, and I'm trying to do that while setting up this tricky idea on that side of the board. So h4, h6, and I no longer have this threat, so I decided to recycle this bishop and go to bishop d2 and set this one up. So my opponent played c4, and here I made a big mistake. I actually want to go bishop c3, and for that very reason, my opponent played c4. Now, we gotta wonder why c4 was played. You're gonna tell me, well, because they played bishop d2, I'll be rather unhappy. Don't say that, please. Please don't say that. That would be not nice. Not nice. Free pawn? Well, the pawn is now free for sure, Joesmax. But the thing is, if we'd captured this one, they'd capture our bishop, and that'd be a free bishop. So why did black play pawn to c4? Yeah, they want to block with bishop c3, then bishop d4. And dumb enough, I actually played bishop c3. Double attack the rook. Oh, you mean here, Mike? Bishop f2? Is that what you mean there? That could be an idea, yes. Now, not only should I stop this, which is, I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but is a threat, and I should have played rook to e4. Because not only do I attack the pawn, I'm also preparing bishop to c3, which also hinders the idea of bishop d4. Now bishop d4 no longer is a great move because I have pawn to c3, chasing the bishop away, and then I can just capture the pawn. I'm up a pawn. That's all you want. So I played bishop c3, which was inaccurate. Bishop d4, rook e4, c5. I was actually welcoming the doubling of the pawns because in the long run I would win the c pawn, and an extra pawn is an extra pawn, so I'd be comfortable with that. So my opponent played c5. Alright, so this is again a situation where I think it matters to wonder how I could try to gain some advantage. I guess comfort is some sort of self-preservation. Comfort, I guess, is moments when you don't feel horrible. I think comfort is literally the lack of pain. So it's kind of a state of being that is closest to these religious experiences. I kind of yet to know which one I'm referring to there, but it's for sure comfort is a lack of pain. So with every move you make a decision. And we first have to decide and assess, are we going to checkmate black's king on f6? Hey, not really. We are unlikely to checkmate that king on f6. And if that is not the case, and if we're not gonna checkmate that king, well then, what other things that'd be useful to accomplish? Now, don't forget, this is an endgame. No more queens on the board, and it actually means something quite important. something quite important. Well, yeah, of course, there are all these stereotypical things. Bring your king, yada yada yada. But, no. This situation is not as cool as David Yada. Not, not the case. Want to promote a pawn, right? Now, if you go g4, you'd sort of argue that I'm going to mate the king, but you're not going to. h4 is going to fine because you're gaining some space. g4 is not fine because now these pawns actually become targets. Bishop a5, okay. An idea. Lose your rook on d4? No, we don't lose our rook on d4. Yeah, bishop a5 does attack the rook. So we are in an endgame zone, right? So if you're an endgame and you want to promote stuff, gotta involve pawns. So where are the position kind of weakest for black? So you're kind of focusing too much on our weaknesses, Kebex. Be a bit more positive. Positivity, which is not a word, positivity is though. You want to involve your guys. You want to understand where our opponent's weaknesses lie. Hello, people joining. a4, very good. You're strengthening my bishop. Also, you're sort of realizing the side where you're stronger. You're stronger on this side. And I'm even thinking of pushing my pawn up to a6 and press on that side instead of the king side. Bishop a5 is not a bad move, but it's a little bit obvious from a level up, and they're not going to lose their rook. So I play a4. I don't really fear this trade still because I will take the c4 pawn. So a4, g5. My opponent is trying to play on the other side. Also, it does give some luft for the king. That is correct, Steep Games. That is correct. So, should we trade or not? Is it trading time or is it not trading time? Is it trading time? Should we trade? And give me a little bit of reasoning. So, it's good and all that you have your suggestions, but it's always even better if you give me an idea. Why would you do the way you do it? Black is trying to open the lines for his light squared bishop and rook on the h file, so don't trade and push. Okay, that's great. Like, you are actually putting in your mind to it and wondering, okay, how can I actually deal with this scenario and what is my opponent thinking? Good thinking there. So again, if you go bishop a5, as we saw earlier on, this is a standoff between these bishops. Whichever blinks, it's just gonna get worse. So there's no reason to move it right now. I'm not even sure about that, if this is really a pin of sorts. Yes, black can't take, but nor can I take on d4 because they capture back with the c pawn, and that's definitely not to my advantage. So in this scenario, I actually decided not to take. Correct, as you said earlier, the rook would get involved, and that's not too great. So I played h5. I've, of course, kept notice of my pawn, played h5, and h5 is that double-edged move that some people don't dare make and other people do. Well, the point of this is fixing this pawn, and you do get a little bit of side space in this position, which definitely gives you an easier play. Hey, chess master. That's why I played h5 here. h5, bishop f5, rook e1 here, rook e4, and we repeated moves. Game ended in a draw, and we both qualified for the World Cup. Because there's nothing else really you can do in this position. Just a repetition, and we qualified both. Obviously, I'm joking. This is not that event. This is a game I played recently. It's not a World Cup qualifier yet. So I actually decided to go rook e2. Not everyone has to take a draw. You can play the game of chess even if some people are pessimistic and they just don't like playing the game. So I actually played rook e2 the second time around. I didn't repeat the moves all the way. I mean, hey, there's still a lot to play for. So rook e2, bishop e6. But it's one thing to have the conviction to play on, but the other one is to come up with an idea. Stockfish says black has checkmate in 90 moves. Wait, also just joking. Aha! That's Mike. I see ya. So, whenever you embark on a mission or a plan, the best thing you can do is following through. So you ought to just recall our plan, our master plan, and go from there. A5, very good. So even though there was like a couple of scenes on this side of the board, so black was playing some moves with g5 and bothered us, we always wanted to push this pawn to a6 to fix a weakness and potentially create a target queen side. Here, and I played a5. Coming ever so closer. King f5, bishop c6, f4, bishop d2 check, king g3. My opponent is very brave, but I'm not really taking advantage of it. Probably I should have checked here first. I committed a mistake, played c3, and my opponent correctly found this move, bishop f2. So now we created a situation for ourselves. However, I found this move, pawn to f4, takes, and the king is actually forced away. Takes. Alright, so this is again a critical situation and juncture where you have to wonder what and how we could try to win this game. It is no question that we are better, because if anyone has weaknesses, it's black. All of those pawns are weak. Question is how to get to it. And of course, if you're looking and you're trying to evaluate a position, you should go deeper than the obvious. Stating the obvious does not help you grow as a player, nor does it provide a solution. So it's one thing to think one move ahead, but if you're aiming to strike higher and become better, you should look more further than that. For sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, so some of you want rook f3, rook f6, okay. So what will be the long-term plan? Really what I'm trying to push you guys and girls to find is plans, not just moves. Because moves could be made by computers, androids, or cats. All cuddly, nice, but none of them really cares about the game. However, when you think in plans, you actually excel and you are the superior being in that case. So be the superior being, chat. We just moved our bishop from b5. So I'm not sure that is a great idea. Okay, rook f6, but they're gonna defend that pawn. So, alright. I see some of you just want to keep it to that one, and that's okay. You go there, I defend my pawn. But you gotta go deeper. You got to dig deeper. You're always in our comfort that, hey, that is so easy, that should be the way of doing things, but no, you can't. And I know you guys are capable for more. Alright, Skabix is on to something. Says rook f6 here. How about here? And b3? Well, for the moment, that's unlikely to work because the bishop is actually guarding that square. But that's a good start. But that is definitely a great start over here, over there, for sure. So I did go rook f6. Here I checked. Rook here. Now, it's funny to me. I've been mentioning this all the time. Which side of the board we're trying to play on. And, if you can recall that, some teeny weeny bit, you may as well find my idea. Now, chess is a weird game. If something doesn't work, it's not always that you have to make it work. You may have to look for something else. Now, if you check me, there was a claim it's a perpetual, but it's not really a perp because my king will waltz away via a2. Rook here. If you go bishop a4, the problem is if we trade the bishops, it's going to be a rook ending and it's not necessarily going to be great. So we're trying to play on the queen side. Why on earth did we push this pawn up to a5 in the first place? The solution is going to shock you. Knight's waltz, king's tap dance. That is correct. So I played here, 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 here. Of course, I'm just messing with my opponent. But there was a reason I played king b1. We're embarking on a mission here, chat. We're embarking on a mission here, dear viewer. Let's go! Let's go! That's what you do. See, you guys were just too heavily focused in the present and not really envisioning the future. Black is sort of stuck. Black's king is actually doing nothing. It's cut off from any action on the king's side. This rook is stuck defending that. The bishop is passive, while my king is gonna march up to a6 and a7. It's absolutely the traveling king. King e2, king a3, king e3. Now there's still some potential dangers for that king along the way. So you want to stop that before happening. You really ought to make sure there's no way that they can stop you. So potential pitfalls is rook b8 and a6. And the best way of becoming a better player is to answer your questions of wondering how I can actually stop this idea of pawn getting pushed to a6, meaning black. Why the rook is on f6, you'll see in a moment. So if a6 comes, it becomes a problem for us to get to bring the king over, right? Bishop b7, very good. So it's not enough to say, oh, this never will work because of bishop b7. If you are actually trying actively to take away counterplay from your opponent, that is best play by proxy. If they go here, as they did, I just go a6. And the idea is that this rook is always condemned to defend the h-pawn. So rook h8, king a4. And with a6 stopped, rook b8 blocked, the king is walking on this board. If you check me, I go here, and it's a Zugzwang situation, because if you go here, I go king b5, and I pick those pawns up. Can't really move the rook anyways. First, of course, I take you. Also, got to cover the h6 square along the way. Obviously. King d2. Clearly wanting to go after my pawns. Clearly trying to go after my pawns. Go here. Check. Here. Takes g8. And now we have to look for a new goal. Now we've got to go for a new goal here. So what is our goal again? What is black trying to stop and trying to avoid? Why did I say the same thing twice? I don't know. What is white trying to accomplish here? Those are the words I wanted to utter, but I couldn't. But now I managed, so I'm happy. All of our pawns are defended, yes. But there's still some pressure. Scabex. Still some pressure going on. We're at the bishop. I mean, our bishop is doing some good stuff already. Like, it defends the A pawn, the G pawn. Why would we need to move it? Like, if it's already doing some business, just leave it. The opponent played rook G5 to king D6. However, this opens up a route for our king. It's actually pretty nice. Pretty nice, if you ask me. Pretty nice. King C7, well said. Who cares about the H pawn when we can go ahead and pick up the A pawn? Very, very nicely done. And we don't really care about the other side overall. We're just going to pick up the A pawn and we're promoting. And this bishop on E6 is completely out of play and has no say whatsoever about that E pawn running down the board. Rook F5. Trades, trades, takes, E7. And this is what I call a fairly straightforward game with me actually following through one plan. But you had to find the plan first to be able to execute it. And that's what I'm saying. Think in plans. Don't think in moves. Like that's always the crucial part of the game. Literally. Literally the crucial part of the game. You don't want to just decide early on that, hey, I'm not gonna do it the other way. Like, that's what you want. You want to embark on a plan and go forward with it. All right, so I do want to take a couple of challenges, if you don't mind. So if you want to challenge me, do go ahead. Of course, if you're a subscriber, you got prioritat. That in mind. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys enjoyed this mini lesson. And I think it's a good way of understanding that is the direction you ought to be going for. Well, you challenge via challenging this username over there. South Mayhem. Good luck. All right. So, e4. Let's play e5. Trying to take some piece of the center. Let's go to c6. Let's go to f6. Keep on developing. You're again against humans. You're 611. No worries at all. It's okay. That's not a bad rating overall. So I'm gonna go h6. So there is no bishop g5 business. Go there, and then I can decide how I activate the bishop. Probably I want to go d6. All right, I could capture, but I think I'm gonna avoid that. I'm gonna go bishop b6 here, or I could go queen e7. You know what? I'm gonna go queen e7. Just developing my guys over defense. Everyone starts from somewhere, so don't worry about it. really just comes and goes. People are a little bit too eager on it. So let's go d6. Now I'm basically bolstering my center. Alright, so my opponent already kind of castled in. I go for this g5, g4 break. And trying to break through on the other side. Now g5, by the way, isn't as strong if there's no h3 hook in the position. But here, this will actually work miracles. Hey, Bishop Stars. Emmerich, thoughts on Silman's books? I think Silman's Endgames is fine. But like I don't have any negative thoughts of any sorts. I'm preparing this push of G. That's a great book. I definitely think it's worth studying Great Predecessors by Kasparov, just to have a feel of what kind of chess world you're dropping into. E4, I'm going to drop back. I don't want to trade because that would just open up the file for my opponent. That'd be kind of nasty. That's just not how I roll. I don't want that. And for the moment, I'm doing fine. But yeah, I still will be trying to attack. Possible. A Life and Crime of Tal. Good book. Good book. Good book. Life and Crimes of Michal Tal. Good one. Overall, a good one. A4. Now I'm gonna go G4. Because, yes, A5 is in the air, but I just don't care. Also, now I can pierce through, because this F-pawn is actually very busy defending that bishop. So if captures, then I will be able to capture the bishop over. I'm gonna go G3 now. Pretty new to chess as well, and only 1200, so don't want to get a really advanced book yet. Okay. So takes. And now we often have this tendency of capturing immediately, but you know, you could capture another way, which is also a check. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's a good thing, but also it's good to sort of get into the feels of the chess world, Emmerich. So books with more stories. So Bobby Fischer's book, like these autobiographies are good because they sort of give you a taste of the chess world and the world they were living in. GG's, Mid-South. So I felt the opening was fine, but you also had to be more aggressive. H3 is always also a little dodgy because you may run into G5, G4s. So anything else I would suggest is go for D4 or a quick development with your knight. But in any case, GG's. Right? So, Ezra, good luck. E4. Come. Right? So I've been asked to play the King's Gambit before. I'll do it again. Here's the King's Gambino. And by the way, if you want to learn proper gambits that are pretty good, here's a list that you can check out. We've got a YouTube channel over here that is worth the look. So, hey, check it on out. Alright, so let's play it Fischer style. Fischer loved putting the bishop on c4 because there is this tendency and plan of doing the number 4. Gambino, indeed. There. Yes, sirree. d4. Regaining space. There, knight f6. Let's go e5. going for aggression. Now, I always have to be vigilant of this one. That's sort of the danger of this whole line. But it should work. It definitely should work. Just have to recall which way to play this. Okay, let's go here. Yeah, so if you want to learn more, definitely subscribe to our YouTube. Right? Expected. Wanted to go g3 anyways. Over defending. So the beauty of the King's Gambit is that your play is very straightforward. However, it is a very dangerous way of playing, and it can get very double-edged. Also a very double-edged position. But there are gambits I would advise if you're a newcomer. I would advise either the Danish or the Scotch Gambit. Both of those I cover in that video and more. Queen e7. Now it is time for me to look for my opponent's threats. Yes, I see them. I see them. Okay, so now I have to decide. I could go pawn to a3. But no. I want to keep developing. I want to keep developing because it's very important. The more pieces you have in the game, the more likely you're going to win. Any evens gambit, that's also there. So they're all quality gambits. So notice I got the center. My second step is to put my king into safety. Do not want to trade, but I guess I have to. Bishop is gonna hang. So I'll take here and I will go pawn to c3. Or castles, because I don't want to give up that pawn. And of course, you'll find parts of there that is very uniquely mine. So there are many people doing Evans Gambit lectures, but not as specific as I am. I've got a specific one which will be unique to your own style. All right, let's go knight f3. Again, involve more pieces. e5, let's drop back. Now you can see the difference between my position and my opponent's. I've got my pieces developed, while black is still kind of struggling a little bit. Do the same. Okay, let's go knight g5. I want to get the bishop pair. You liked my Smith-Morra video that you did? All right, let's go. Well, there. That's not bestest. Let's go rook f1. Let's go rook f1 over here. Knight 8. And take what I'm considering. So let's go here. If trades. No biggie. No biggie. No biggie. There. Now I want to go either bishop d2 or pawn to a3. Go pawn to a3. I'm just removing the defender so I can capture the pawn. Whichever way you want. Maybe you feel better if you want to concentrate that way, but you're okay if you don't want. And you want to listen. Yes, Mike. Took the pawn. It is time to consolidate. Let's take here and just over defend the center pawn. I did castle queenside. I did do that. Let's go here. Again, note that I'm trying to over defend. Okay. Go h3. Trades. Not a problem. Let's trade. Trade is good for me because in the long run, I already have an extra pawn, which should provide me a great game. Bishop g5, interesting. Trade. Or let's go here for defend. Yeah, black is definitely playing well. I agree, bishop stars. Black is actually putting up a very, very good fight. There. Once you see your opponent's weaknesses, you should go after him. Okay, bring the king in if you can. Potentially, there could be dangers there, but my opponent can't really use it at the moment. Okay, let's go pawn to e6. I want to go rook e1. e1. Again, I will walk my king up. Just hope to. And let's bring the king. Let's bring the king. And let's go c5. Here are those guys. There. Yeah. And I'm preparing d5. That is loose, so even if you capture, I have that d5 push. That's what I'm using here, d5. No capture because I take. Now I take. That is an extra rook. Good. Check. You start trading once you got the extra material. I try to win the a pawn, the g pawn, fine, and it's time to push the pawn. It's game over. GG's. Very well played, Ezra. Mike, good luck. All right, e4. How do I see Rockboard's chances? Whatever. I mean, I don't really know. I feel that really his chances are minuscule. I'm actually playing a solid system here. It's not your open Sicilian, but that does not mean that it can't be interesting. In fact, White is trying to sort of smother Black's pieces, Black's bishop mostly. I'm gonna go bishop c4. This bishop is gonna be kind of useful, lurking over there. Yeah, very, very well played, Ezra. e6, but that does leave the e pawn, the d pawn weak. So we'll take more. You know, the more I can take, the better it gets. Drop back. So I got the extra pawn. And I could take more, but you know what? Take more. Take more. Greed is good. The more you can take, the better it gets. The more you take, the better it gets. Now it's time to develop. Now, a lot of times we get boggled down and we just keep taking stuff. But that's in general not the best. Whoa! Whoa! That is not nice. Trying to checkmate thee. Very interesting move. Okay, makes sense too. So I could take there too. Take. I capture or should I not? I think the answer is A. There, so I'll take here first. Not gonna take yet. Counter punch over here. Let's counter punch you. This little move. H8. Trying to muddy waters. The decent way of playing. See what's going on. Okay. Gonna go knight h2. My opponent wanted to capture here, I believe, and try to cause mayhem. But I'm trying to take that away and just keep it very solid. Because of the extra pawns, I shouldn't really need more than that. There, yeah. Drop back to c4. b8, I'll over defend that. So notice once I've got the extra material, I try to consolidate. And that's what I'm trying to do in this position. So let's take that bishop. Why not? Look like a free bishop. So let's take it. Okay. Let's go queen g5. I want to control these squares and also provide shelter for my king. That is the whole play. So what black is doing is actually pretty good. Should you surprise people? Sometimes you want to surprise people. You could go queen g3 or queen g4. I kind of like queen g4 better because I take away all these crucial squares. Should you subscribe at Prime? If you want to and you want quality content, sure. So queen g4, just pushing the queen away, and then I might be up that hefty little material. That's all I want. All I want is that extra materialski. Okay, so let's move the king away from any potential checks. Just hiding it from danger. And keeping it that way. Or here. Any quality content enjoyers. Plenty of those. Come on. Most everyone is a quality content enjoyer. Okay, knight d4. Them waters. Okay, so I could capture here. Now let's take this. Take that one. Let's take that one. Because eventually that a pawn can become a monstrous. Absolutely monstrous. Knight h3. So the dance commences. Okay. So go here, and I kind of like that idea. I'm gonna go here, over defend my f pawn. Went away from danger. J Theory, thank you for subscribing with Prime for 2 months. Hey, good to have ya. See what we can do here. Well, I've got the extra material and I'm happy with it. Okay, rook f3. Wow. Wild stuff. Whoa. Very wild. Okay. Wow. Take, take. Hmm. Huh. Okay. Hmm. Take, 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 take. Go here. Move my king away from danger. At least that is thy plan. There. Okay, I'll take. Oh no. Hope my internet doesn't fly away. Okay, I take. I'm giving up the queen. I mean, the attack was quite kind of vicious. And as the attack is sort of dying down, I will have ways of consolidating. Or at least hope to. There, let's go bishop c4. My plan is to push that pawn as far as I can. Go here for a7. Captures, I go a7 there. And that is actually looking quite problematic. Let's push this guy. Takes, I take. I have the bishop to cover. I've got that bishop to cover. Pawn is promoting. Very, very nicely played, Mike. Very, very nicely played. That was some vicious attack. Rook f3 actually was shocking. Actually curious how good it was. I felt it was pretty good. So one of those things, and I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, is that you've got to always take a look at your opponent's threats. You did very, very good. So, yeah, you gotta be always vigilant of what your opponent is planning. But, look at this one. Takes, takes. And bishop h3, this is not objectively the best move, but definitely is the way to play. You want to go as aggressive as possible if you're already behind. So bishop h3 was a very good practical try. King here. And if takes, already there's bishop takes g2 and it's getting muddy. And if takes, this is already a draw. So that's why it makes a lot of sense what Mike did. You want to go for these types of plays. Knight h2, rook f8, rook b8, knight h5, takes, takes. Now I should have played knight d5 to cover this, but I didn't. Played queen g5, queen g4, king h1, knight d4, takes, queen g3, and rook f3 was an astounding move. Like a beautiful move. And it does look very scary. The computer doesn't feel that perplexed, but it's actually perplexing because if I go here, then you go knight f4, and there are just too many pieces around. Knight takes is good. Knight takes. And I can't really take because of knight g5 check. It's a problem. can't really block because knight f4 and I'm getting mated. My queen h2, then his queen takes h2, checkmate. So rook f3, even though like engines don't understand, but this one's fantastic of a move. So knight takes, king g2, and because I have the extra material, and that's why material actually matters, I'm actually willing to part with my queen. So here, takes, knight f5, takes, and because this is strong, I'm actually winning. There's no attack anymore because black gave up all the knights for the attack. And objectively, this was a right decision, which shocks me, but hey, material matters? Yes, unfortunately, the truth is, material does matter. Alright, people, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a shorter one. Of course, we'll do longer sessions. But for now, this is what we have. And yeah, now we are going to visit some other peeps. So be nice over there to let them know our existence. Hope you all enjoyed the content. Hope you enjoyed the lecture part and hope you enjoyed playing. And of course, there will be other streams coming up and we'll be playing plenty of viewers. So definitely join us. Let me know what you like on our YouTube. And I'm happy to have you all. And be good. Bye-bye.